Hey guys, it's iDavis here and welcome back. Today I'm going to dive into something very special compared with my previous videos, as we are going to talk about the newest games that InnoGames might be releasing in 2021 year. Indeed, there has been a lot of stuff going on last year. InnoGames made an early access for its 4 new titles, and in this video we are going to take a look at all of them and all the information that we know so far. All of these games were only available for a short period of time in the so-called early access version, that is the version primarily used for testing and gathering the first feedback from players. So obviously there might be a lot of changes once these games are fully released, but I'm pretty sure that this overview will give us a good idea of how these games are going to look like and what we can expect from InnoGames this year. So in the beginning of the last year, 2020, the article appeared on Gameswirtschaft.de, which is the German gaming industry-oriented website, where the so-called successor to Forge of Empires was mentioned to be in development by InnoGames. Related this information, the article also says the following. InnoGames continues to be the top-selling game developer in Germany. 4 games are planned for 2020, including a successor to Forge of Empires. There is a lot to suggest that the game follows a very similar approach to Forge of Empires and has a corresponding development and marketing budget. According to MTG, which is the InnoGames parent company, InnoGames is also working on 3 more games, all of them mobile games, including a new game that targets the audience of successful farm building games Township by Playrix and Heyday by Supercell. The title is still a secret, however, last year the company had a Sunrise Village trademark protected. The 4th new project breaks with the previous InnoGames standards and is designed as an explicit low-cost product that is to be created in just 12 months. Okay, so this was the article from the February 2020, so a year ago. So let's make a recap of what did we know back then and what actually happened since then. So visibly all the games were planned for 2020. Now we don't know if this was also initially planned to be the early access only, but throughout the last year, all of the 4 mentioned games were indeed released in early access version. So if that was the case, InnoGames actually managed to fulfill their plans. So let's make a recap of what 4 games did we hear about. So except the most sung title, a successor to Forge of Empires, the article also stated something about the Township-like game, that is the game by Playrix, a Russian company, primarily focused on city and garden building titles. Then we heard something about the Sunrise Village, what could potentially be some kind of farming game, just at least that's how the name sounds. And last but not least, we have the so-called low-cost title that is going to be created within 1 year only, without any details about it so far. Okay, so this was what happened and what information we got in the beginning of 2020, and as the time flew, the things started moving, and in May 2020, the first game was finally released into early access. And unsurprisingly, the game that got the opportunity to see the light of day as the first became the, so far known as successor to Forge of Empires, called Rise of Cultures. The game was launched in May 2020 and was available for around 3 or 4 weeks. Then the game was taken away during the first half of July. During this time, players had the opportunity to play and test this new, historically inspired city building game, which, based on the pictures that are available so far, looks really cool. We can feel some sort of combination of Elvenar and Forge of Empires here. Of course, the historical theme comes from Forge of Empires, but it reminds me Elvenar in a way that it's somehow more oriented to discovering new cultures and civilizations instead of new eras only, so that reminds me discovering new guest races in Elvenar. Anyway, looking at the loading screen, it seems like some sort of progress in terms of modernization of the city will be still the part of the game, because when you look at the loading screen you can see some kind of futuristic buildings in the background. The research seems so far also very familiar. During the testing phase there were only few chapters, or I should rather say cultures, available, including Stone Age, Bronze Age, Ancient Greece, Egypt and early Rome, and one more that wasn't available back then. Anyway, even in these first chapters, there were a lot of bugs and glitches everywhere that players discovered and shared on the Rise of Cultures official Facebook page, so it seemed like developers had a lot of work to do, and at this moment it's a question when this game is going to return in full release and most importantly with a global access, because back in May this game was only available in a few countries, such as the United States. Okay, now the battle is of course the part of this game as well. Now we don't know if this is going to be the PvP or PvE game. So far you definitely have the option to fight in some kind of provinces on the map. The fights look completely different than we are used to from both Elvenar and Forge of Empires. But at the end of the day, so far it seems like player will have some option to choose the playstyle he prefers, based on the Google Play description that is available so far, which says, if you like to compete, fight to strengthen your empire, and if you would rather keep it friendly, trade goods with your neighbors. Okay, so with that said, that seems to be the Rise of Cultures, probably the most anticipated game that InnoGames is working on right now, and let's move on to the second game that InnoGames has in portfolio. Around a few weeks after Rise of Cultures went offline, in July 2020, the Sunrise Village became available. These are the graphics that are available so far. We can see that this game is pretty much farming, casual gaming oriented. I played this game for a while, back in July. You have some character, you are following the story of, I think, her grandfather, and developing your farm. You are harvesting plants, keeping animals, and also discovering the surrounded areas by visiting and exploring new zones, where you again follow some quests and do the appropriate stuff. This pretty much reminds me of the game Klondike Adventures, that is pretty successful title, so it wouldn't be surprising if InnoGames were trying to catch this part of the gaming audience. The game was available in just few countries and after few weeks went offline. I think it was somewhere around the middle of August 2020. So basically this period of weeks helped developers to gather the feedback from players and maybe the first data that they need for game balancing and stuff like that. Okay, moving on, as we could already see, InnoGames is also working on some kind of township-like game that is most probably going to try to reach the audience of this hugely successful title, and its name wasn't mentioned in the article from the last year, but when a new title got released in early access in August 2020, based on the game theme and genre, it was pretty much obvious that that's the title we are talking about, with the name Lost Survivors. And I have to say that this game overcame all my expectations that I had to this type of game. After I tried this game for a few weeks and I managed to reach few levels, discover some features here and there, and guys, I was pretty much overwhelmed of how many features and what for a potential this game had to offer. Of course, I didn't want to spend too much time playing this game, because, you know, from the experiences of the previous two early access titles, it was clear that the game is going offline in a short time as well, what means all the progress being removed. So I just had some lookup and yeah, there was a lot of stuff to do, very nice graphics. Basically what this game is about, you are building some tropical island, gathering the so-called survivors that you are finding and saving from around the island on the world map. You are building your camp, production buildings where you cook the food from the resources that your survivors are gathering on the island. That's some kind of alternative to the field and harvesting system that we might know from other like games. You can also join a club, that's something like a fellowship in Elvenar, and together participate in a couple of special features, including the so-called submarine that has pretty much similar mechanics to the Spire of Eternity. Okay, and let's conclude with the last title that appeared, I guess, in the beginning of December 2020 and was online for just a couple of weeks. At the end of the year it was already offline, I'm pretty sure, and the game is named Idle Cash City. So this is a kind of funny game. You have a city and you are collecting money from your citizens from the buildings. You are actually not building the city itself, you are just some kind of manager. By using some strategy you are generating money in the city, and for that money you are hiring more employees that are actually helping you to generate even more money. Then you are progressing into some higher stages or levels, you are buying stuff. Pretty much a casual tap-tap game. I guess that's the one that the article that I mentioned earlier called to be that low-cost title. One more thing happened in December 2020, and it was the article published on MTG official website where the CEO of InnoGames said the following. We established InnoGames to make great games that people want to play for decades. Today we have an iconic set of live games and a strong pipeline of new exciting titles that have shown outstanding results in early tests. 2020 has been another record-breaking year for us, and we are excited to boost the new gaming group's performance with our extensive experience. So this just confirms the initial goals of InnoGames, and their first tests proved to be successful. We can for now assume that the majority, if not all of these 4 games will be further developed, so there are no signs of any cancellation that actually happened in the past. Okay, and the last piece of information that we could see was one of their latest Facebook posts where they stated the following. We recently had our yearly company presentation, this time as a virtual format. What was shared there? Roadmaps, milestones, and exciting news, specifically our plans for our new games. 2021 looks like a great year ahead for InnoGames. So this just proves that InnoGames is indeed aiming to release these games this year. So far, we have no closer information about when any of these games is going to see the light of day again, but just a couple of days ago, Rise of Culture's official webpage on Facebook uploaded new pictures, and after more than a half year, a new post that might be suggesting that they are already preparing the environment for the future community, as the arrival might be coming soon. And with that being said, that's where we hit the present on the timeline of what happened recently. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to join by subscribing so that you never miss anything new from Elvenar or the happening around InnoGames, and I will see you next time.